Hello everyone, I'm here today with a flip-through video. This is day 3 from my New York trip in May of 2025. So we're going to start off here on the left with a 4x8 layout. I actually did this one in Canva, printed it, and then I just added the embellishments, and it was just about having to run out to get a coffee because I was so tired. I needed coffee to wake up, and my phone charger died sometime during the night. So I went out to a CVS close to the coffee place and got a new cord. So I did both of those things that morning, and I ran back to my hotel and did a little bit of preliminary packing before I went over to Central Park. And as you can see here, I kept it very simple. I wanted to use this card because it brought in a lot of color, but it still had the green. And then this came like that. I didn't bend it or anything. It came as a semicircle, and so I just slapped it on there because the card had orange as well. And then here we are at Central Park. I got to use one of my DIY travel embellishments. I had a set of stickers from the Sparkle City line. Does anybody remember that? That was from Chamel from years ago. I never used the pigeons. There were several pigeons in there. And I thought, well, this is the perfect time because it's New York, it's Central Park, there's actually some purple. I'm going to use it. So there he is. And then over here, I got lucky that I had this purple card that I could use. And I had this just in my stash of like random ephemera. And I'm like, well, my kids aren't little anymore. I don't know when I'm going to use that. And then I thought, well, I could still use it for Central Park because there is play equipment in there. Not where I was, but there is some there, and a bike and a bench and all that. I thought, well, that works. And so I tried to really just match all the colors together. So I had pink, and pink, and then I worked some purple in there. And of course, lots and lots of green from the park. And I had a remnant of this pattern paper of a city grid. So I thought, well, that's perfect because Central Park is smack in the middle of Manhattan. And then more shots from Central Park. This is specific to Bethesda Terrace. So if you've never been to New York City, the Bethesda fountain is very, very famous. And sort of right next to that, I was sort of standing at the fountain here. Right next to that is Bethesda Terrace, which is what this building is here. And from the outside, it just looks like, oh, it's a pass-through, it has some arches, whatever, no big deal. It is stunning on the inside. Now, I will say it's not the best kept. There are parts of it that really, really need some restoration work, but it's still beautiful. But this is outside. Look at the detail in this. It's just such pretty work here in the stone. I feel like it is anyway. I like it no matter what. So I wanted to go through there and actually go underneath and see the ceiling and the walls on the inside from underneath. So you can walk up here, and then you can also pass through down here. You can see I did like simple cards that had green in them, very minimal embellishments. These were all puffy stickers from a Hip Kit Club order that I had. And so I was able to make those match and use some of those. And then here's looking back at the fountain. It was gray that morning. It actually did very, very lightly drizzle for the first part when I was walking. And then it cleared up for quite a while after that. So I was grateful. And you know what? A little drizzle isn't going to hurt me. It wasn't going to deter me from going. So I thought, you know what? I'm already on the path. I'm going to keep going. It'll be fine. I did have an umbrella, but I didn't even have to use it, which is nice. But so here you can see part of the fountain. I tried to do some close-ups. That I've been to several times, so not as big of a deal, really. And then here I had an empty card, and so I, again, used some of my puffy stickers, and I just built a card that would work. And I actually had a sticker that said park. So pretty perfect. And then I wanted to add in a couple other photos, but I didn't need a whole page. So I decided to just do these back to back. So I just used a citrus twist attacher on this 3x4. Very minimal embellishments there. Just a couple stickers there. Very thin chipboard here. And that's it. So here you can kind of see part of the walls. Like here you can tell, not kept up the greatest. This one looks pretty good. You can see some, wear and tear up there, but pretty good. Same with here. You can see they need to do some work. But look at the ceiling. That combined with those arches, it's just stunning. I really, really love it. And up here, I had this card left from it was a travel kit from Everyday Explorers, but I don't remember which one. Don't remember what it's called. It's not that old though, maybe like 6 months ago or so. And again, same sheet where I had some of these other puffy stickers. I used that one. It fit perfectly in the middle. When I was done in Central Park, I had to go back to my hotel and I picked up my bag. And then I was meeting my friend who lives in New York. I was meeting her at Limani. We were trying to find somewhere we could both eat. She has to be gluten-free and is quite sensitive to that. So we have to pick carefully where we eat. And I looked at the menu here and it was a lot of Mediterranean type stuff and seafood, which is great. You know, not a lot of bread and pasta and all that kinds of stuff. So we decided to go there and it just happens to be at Rockefeller. And I'm going to be honest, I tend to only go to Rockefeller if other people are with me. Like if they've never seen it and they want to go, I'll take them. But otherwise I tend to stay away. There's really not much there I need to do when I've been to New York so many times. But this time it worked out from where I was coming from the Upper West Side. She was coming from Columbia and it just worked because she had something to do after. It's a central point. And then I could just go right from there to the airport. So worked out pretty well. So here you can see the inside of the building at Rockefeller. I grabbed kind of my requisite shot there, some famous things of the building, and it kind of matched. So I'm like, oh, that works out well. I took this right outside the restaurant since the sign was there, dropped in a simple card. So this one was super easy to put together. And then over here, we're starting at the restaurant. I was quite early. I like to have a buffer. I hate being late. So I was like, oh, you know, I've already like packed up my bag and everything. There's nothing else really I need to do. So I just jumped on the bus right from my hotel and was able to get down to Rockefeller pretty quickly. So I just sat there and had water and just scrolled my phone while I waited for her, which was fine. But it's quite fancy inside and they do a prefix menu for lunch. I think it was $49, $39 or $49. You get 3 full courses and a dessert. So it was lovely. And so you can see it was very blue themed. So I went with that. And then because I had this over here and these lights were kind of a yellowy orange, that chipboard heart from Allie Edwards worked perfectly. Ooh, and I should mention both of these chipboard pieces, if I remember right, they are from Freckled Fawn. And then here is our actual meal. So I had a Greek vegetable salad to start. And I had sea bass. That is the best sea bass I've ever had in my life. So if you go there and you're wondering, is the sea bass good? Yes, it is. Just get it. Do yourself a favor. It was delicious. And then here is my dessert. It was an orange Greek cake. I cannot remember the name of it, but it was quite yummy. I'm usually not a super big fan of orange flavor. It really depends on how it's done. This was fantastic. It was very light and the cake was just very fluffy and it was just good all the way around. And here again, I kept it simple. I had some food phrases that worked. This is from Allie Edwards, and my friend Robin gave me it because she wasn't using it, so she gave it to me, which I appreciate. And then when we were done eating, there was a pop-up event happening at Rockefeller out on the plaza, and it was all about spring blooms. So we thought, well, it's right there, let's go. Sure enough, as soon as we started, we basically walked outside and it started to pour. So good thing I had an umbrella because I definitely had to use it. And you can kind of see here, the colors are very vibrant because of that rain. It brings out the colors, but everything was wet. I had to be careful not to step in big puddles and get my shoes drenched before having to get on the plane. But this one came together easily too because I did it in Canva. I just used the template I had. I dropped in all the photos. This was already there. I didn't add that. All I really had to do was journal. Just type it out. And then once it printed, I did 3 little bees and I called it good. For this side, I knew I wanted to do a blown up photo. I wanted to go a full 6x8. So you can see the iconic statue here at Rockefeller with the fountains, which weren't really needed because it was raining so hard. Here you can kind of see how much rain was happening. It was a lot. So we weren't going to let that deter us though. So we still walked around and saw everything. And I loved how this shot came out. So I just had it enlarged and put 1 sticker on it. That's all it needed. And then over here, this is a page protector style I don't use a lot. I find it a little bit more difficult to use. So when I can use them, I love it. And this worked out very well. So I had all the right colors. I just used some scraps of paper that I had in my stash, which was perfect. And I was able to match all of these pastels. And I think all of these stickers, all four, this one too. All of these came from a garden sticker book I have that's from Carta Bella. And it has so much in it. I'm glad I can use some stuff because it's going to take me forever to use that thing. Here's the backside. I also love this. This was more of like an aqua or a turquoise kind of theme happening, and I love it. But then I had the little pops of pink or coral, because that's my umbrella there, and my friend. So we were able to get a shot of us together, even though it was raining. A very nice stranger offered to take it. So we both huddled under my umbrella and we made it work. But again, I used scraps that I had just laying around. More of those stickers these are all from that same Carta Bella book. And then what I chose to do is I actually outlined in black just to make them pop out a little bit. And you can see that here too. I didn't mention it, but it's there. Without that, it looked very flat to me. So I'm glad I chose to do that. Plus, there is some black in there. So it all matches. It's fine. Once we were done at the pop-up event, we actually went into the Starbucks that's in Rockefeller because we both had some time before she needed to be where she was going and before I needed to leave for the airport. So we sat down there and just had tea, which was a nice little extra bonus that we got after lunch. But then it was time to go. And so she went her way, I went mine, and I just happened to pass this little candy store in Rockefeller as I was leaving. And I love the pastel colors, and they matched really well with all this pop-up stuff. So I thought, well, how fitting. And it was just cute. And so I decided to put that in there. Super easy to scrap this. One phrase strip sticker. I used some labels to fill that in. That's all it took. And then the final page. This was a card already, a 4x6 card. I loved that it said in the city. It's got tall buildings, which is awesome. Is it the H&M building that looks like this in New York? You don't often see that. So I thought, well, that's cool. And then all I did here was I put on this little sticker with the postmark thing and a heart that matched. That's it. I didn't feel like I needed airport pictures because I fly in and out of JFK all the time. I don't need to scrap that every time. So I felt like this was a fitting end. So now you've seen all of my time in New York in May, and it was such a lovely trip because I loved getting all the nature stuff as well as the city stuff. And I hope you enjoyed watching too. Thanks for watching.